The 2025 running back class is loaded with depth, which means there are going to be sleepers. There's going to be a lot of value to be had in the second, third, even the fourth round of rookie drafts. We are in search of this year's Bucky Irving, this year's Tyrone Tracy. I've got four early candidates that need to be on your radar. All right, I've already done my running back positional early preview episode, but there were four players who got left off that list because I didn't have the tape available to watch them. And now that I've added even more guys to the rookie big board, four running backs in particular stood out to me. I need to give you some insight on these guys. But if there's other sleepers or running backs that you have questions about, feel free to drop them in the comments. Let me know. I'm happy to have a good discourse back and forth about this running back class. It's a really deep class, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air compared to the 2024 class. Let's go ahead here and start with the least sleeper of all the guys. I wanted to give different value points. So I've got somebody who I expect to go in the mid to late second round, a couple guys in the third, and one in the fourth. So let's start with the least sleeper of them all, but somebody who still doesn't have a ton of tape out there, and that's running back Cam Skattebo out of Arizona State. Skattebo's coming in at 5'11", 215, a zero-star recruit, did not have those Power 5 or FBS offers coming out of high school. Played 2 seasons at Sacramento State, rushed for 1,300 yards in his final year in that high-end FCS program. Had a good first season at Arizona State in 2023, and in 2024 rushed for over 1,500 yards, 19 rushing touchdowns, has really led, along with Sam Levitt, this Arizona State team to their FCS or FBS playoff bid. What I like about Cam Skattebo, he's a really patient runner. He anticipates space well. I love that combination of patience and anticipation, especially with a guy coming in with a 5'11", 215 frame, and he knows how to use that frame. He's got good contact balance. He's able to stay on his feet. He does most of his damage after first level of contact, and he has second effort strength. Skattebo continues his legs churning with good lower body strength. He powers through the end of runs, and he matches that, right? We're talking about patience. We're talking about contact balance, but he matches that with really nice lateral quickness and a high level of explosive play through his cuts. So he really puts that all together to shredding between the tackles in particular. He's able to navigate in tight space and make guys miss, but he's also a reliable extension of the passing game. Now, Skattebo's not somebody who I'm going to project for 60 or 70 targets at the next level, but I talk about this all the time. You really only need 35 to 40 targets, especially early on in your NFL career here. You put together 40 targets along with 200, even 175 touches on the ground, and you have some immediate fantasy football value to work on. I think Skattebo could potentially be a starting running back. He could be drafted to be a starting running back late day 2. He also could be drafted into a timeshare type role. Either way, though, this is somebody who I expect to make a pretty instant impact at the NFL level. He's my running back 8, but it's a really strong class. I do think he's going to be a day 2 selection. And in my dynasty value comparison, not my skill set comparison, but my value comparison, Skattebo is equal to where I have J.K. Dobbins in my dynasty rankings. Speaking of those dynasty rankings, if you want to see those along with my Devy rankings, and most importantly to this conversation, the 2025 rookie big board, which has a brand new look. I'm showing it to you now with individual draft profile articles for every player that has an evaluation. I already have 45 evaluations logged and counting. I have more evaluations by the turn of 2025 than a lot of big analysts will have by draft night. And we're going to get it up to probably 75 finished evaluations. So if you want to get ahead of your league mates, check out in-depth analysis on all of these players, along with getting access to the Rookie Big Board Discord for personalized advice. Check out the link in the episode description. You can get all of this for just $5 a month, or you could save 15% off now with an annual membership, which is super popular this time of the year. All right, let's get into the third round. We're going to dig into some more in-depth sleepers here. I want to talk about Kahlil Mullins, the running back out of Rutgers. This is somebody who, when I flipped on his tape, I got very excited. And I talk about this all the time. It's not really quantifiable, but I've been doing this for about 6, 7 years now. So a lot of, it can be hard to kind of get me to tilt forward in my seat, jump out of my seat a little bit. And Manangi definitely got me interested. When I watch him play here, I see a really shifty runner. And when you can get the right traits together and be a shifty runner, elusive in tight space, that can be a really nice combination for fantasy football production in particular. I like Manangi's decisive running ability. He sees space, he attacks space. He's able to hit those open gaps. He does not overthink it. He pairs that with good lower body strength and great contact balance. I mean, he's 5'9", 209. So he's got good size. He doesn't have the biggest size. I bet when we get to the combine, he's closer to 215, 220. And if he runs at that strength with the level of contact balance that he has here and that shifty running style, he's somebody who could absolutely make an impact in the NFL. He's got reliable hands and he's good in pass protection. Now, all that being said, I do think Manangi in this stacked class will fall to day 3. And a lot of folks will write off a running back when they fall to day 3. I hope we've learned our lesson of writing off guys when they go to day 3. Do they have a lower hit rate? Sure. That doesn't mean they can't hit. And especially when it comes to the running back position, you have a guy like Manangi who's drafted to be the second running back in an offense. Well, if the guy ahead of him goes down, then all of a sudden he becomes super fantasy valuable. And folks, you're probably listening to this at the back end of your regular season, right? You understand the depth that's needed to be able to win a fantasy football championship. I could absolutely see Manangi being the person who's filling in for an injury and is making an impact in the final few weeks of next fantasy football season. Somebody who I definitely like. I think he's going to go back into the 3rd round, and I'm going to get a lot of exposure to Manangi. I can tell you that right now. The next guy who I'm going to get a lot of exposure to is RJ Harvey, the running back out of UCF. Now, I will say I've heard some chatter leading into my RJ Harvey film review. Hey, Matt, how have you not watched him yet? You got to make sure you get your eyes on him. And honestly, when I hear that chatter, sometimes I dread the tape review because I'm like, man, I hope he lives up to this expectation. And you know what? He did. I liked his film review a lot. So Harvey's coming in at 5'9", 205. So he's got a nice frame, not a huge frame, but he's compact and it helps him have that low center of gravity. I think he's a really fluid runner and he's got nice twitch. So he's a twitchy guy. He'll shake defenders in tight space. And he's able to find small gaps. I love when running backs can do that. He finds small gaps. He'll create his own space. He does that with footwork. And he's able to hit cutback lanes very well. That's in particular the big thing that stood out for me from the RJ Harvey tape. I love when running backs can anticipate space well and hit those cutback lanes. When they show excellent vision, for me, I get interested in them. I see upside in players who are able to display good vision. He's going to pair that with a slippery running ability. All right. I don't talk about slippery runners a lot, but it's a particular running style. He's not overly powerful. He's not going to run over guys, but he does have good contact balance. And it's because he's hard to take down. All right. The arm tackle's not going to work. It oftentimes takes multiple guys to bring down RJ Harvey. And he's going to pair that with really reliable hands. He's a good route runner. All right. So they will run him on wheel routes. They'll run him on drag routes. They'll get him targets in the flat. They'll get him involved in the passing game quite often. I like his ability in particular to win in traffic. There's multiple examples of KJ Jefferson kind of getting RJ Harvey the ball, contact, boom, right after the catch. He's able to hold on. He's able to make a catch with a defensive back draped all over him. That's not something every running back can do. So I do think RJ Harvey, he's another guy who's going to fall till, day 3. Again, I'm not just listing off my top running back rankings, right? I'm talking about the guys who I think are going to be the right combination of draft capital and value. And so RJ Harvey, day 3, I think he could be in a situation similar to Tank Bigsby where he's not the guy in the offense, but we've seen Tank really pop at times, right? When he's gotten his shot. And I think RJ Harvey is a guy who can really pop and be a hyper efficient rotational back. And again, you're always one injury away from being an impact fantasy football player if you've got the prerequisite skill set. And RJ Harvey, for me, absolutely has the prerequisite skill set. All right, so we've done a player in the 2nd round. We've done 2 players in the 3rd round. And I'm going to give you a player who I think is going to be drafted in the 4th round, probably at the very back end of your standard 48 team or 48 pick rookie drafts. Could even slide into the 5th round here. in a standard 12-team league, and that's Kahlil Mullins, the running back out of Michigan. And Donovan Edwards is going to get a lot of talk as the flashier running back out of Michigan, but I have Kahlil Mullins rated higher, and I'm going to be definitely leaning into my Mullins exposure more than my Donovan Edwards exposure. So what do I like so much about Mullins? Let's start here with the frame. 6'2", 233. All right, that's a big boy frame. All right, and if you can translate that athleticism to the NFL to pair it with that frame, then you have a good chance of being a high volume back. High volume means fantasy football points, and we love fantasy football points, right? That's what we're doing here at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. So Mullins, powerful runner, dominates between the tackles. He is tenacious. I try not to overuse that word when I'm talking about running back profiles, but he is a tenacious runner. He seeks out contact. There's examples of him absolutely throwing his hands back, throwing defenders off of him at the contact point. I mean, he wants to run over guys consistently, and he's got good balance when he's doing that. It is difficult to bring Kahlil Mullins down. All right. It takes multiple defenders, and oftentimes he's pushing the pile forward. He's keeping those legs churning at the end of the run here. His play strength absolutely matches up against Big Ten defenders, which is really good for translating to the NFL level. Now, Mullins, he's not the fastest guy. I told you, he's coming in at 233, all right? So he's not going to be a speedster. He's not going to blow away the 40 in Indianapolis, but I think his height and weight adjusted 40 time will be pretty good. I like Mullins' second-level burst ability, all right? So he's a little slow off the line of scrimmage, but when he sees an open gap, he's able to make that attack that gap, make it through that hole, and that second-level burst really does make a difference here. He doesn't have there are some examples of good downfield acceleration. He's not going to outrun NFL defensive backs, but he can get you that 15, 20-yard burst play, which is definitely enough, right? That's enough to be a successful NFL running back and one who's going to produce fantasy football points. Now, he's going to match that with a decisive running style. So we have strength, we have tenacity, we have burst, and we have good vision. This is a really nice combination, folks. He makes guys miss in tight space. Now, what are the hesitations here? He's mostly going to work in between the tackles. He's not a huge extension of the passing game. He's not huge working outside of the tackles. So you will need Mullins to play in a particular scheme. He's going to play in a particular role, probably a two-down back role. All right, but if he gets the chance to be in a high volume situation, he's got the prerequisite skill sets. I think at worst, Kahlil Mullins will be a touchdown vulture at the next level because he's super effective in goal line and short yardage situations. But at best, he's somebody who's able to get somewhere between 150, 175 touches on the ground, maybe another 20 to 25 touches through the air in a season, and somebody who's efficient at the goal line in the red zone, 6 to 7 touchdowns. It might not happen year one as a rookie, but this is somebody who I want to draft in the 4th round. I want to put him on my taxi squad, and I just want to see what happens here because the upside is absolutely worth it. But there's no better upside out there, folks, than joining the Rookie Big Board. The link is in the episode description. Join us over at patreon.com/Rookie Big Board. For just $5 a month, you get the Dynasty, the Devy rankings, the 2025 Rookie Big Board with 45 plus final player evaluations and counting going into it, personalized advice in the Rookie Big Board Discord, one-on-one draft consultation calls. Hey, if this video helped you understand the 2025 rookie class even a little bit, even if you learned one thing, please do me a favor, give the video a like, drop a comment, let me know your favorite out of these 4 guys or another sleeper that you want me to keep my eye on. I appreciate you checking out this video.